What's going on, guys? My name is Noah. Welcome back to a Q&A. We haven't done a Q&A on this channel in a long time. I want to forewarn you guys that I imagine most of the questions will revolve around drinking, alcohol, relapse, recovery, whatever. Based on the fact that I took a big hiatus, that's been kind of the brunt of my content the last couple months. And then I came back with my most recent video, mostly talking about that. So I asked you guys to participate if you felt so inclined, and so many of you did, almost 400 comments. It's never lost on me how insane that is, so I definitely appreciate it. I will answer honestly whatever you guys put before me. I'm just going to read some of your questions right now based on those that made it to the end of the video, then use that title, Made It. And let's see what you guys came up with. A lot of you guys have some wonderful comments, and I've read almost every one of them. There are a lot of them, but some of them don't include questions. They're just sentiments and thoughts and feedback, and I really do appreciate you guys more than you could possibly know. So I'm going to try to peruse and hunt through this for questions, specifically. It's from Alex Mooney, and Alex says, why isn't the TRT helping with your mental health like it was before? I mean, so for those of you that don't know what Alex is talking about, I'm on testosterone replacement therapy, and I'd say it's doing a wonderful job with my mental health, believe it or not. I don't actually feel like I've struggled too much with my mental health these last few months. I think my anxiety has been impacted for sure by the drinking, but as far as like sense of wellness and depression and stuff like that, I've been doing pretty okay for quite some time, barring a few harder days here or there. The interesting thing is that I don't equate hangovers with poor mental health, even though of course it is a direct result of drinking, and it's not like I feel good, but it's very different feeling than depression. So in my mind, addressing my hypogonadism is still very much a positive thing for me. Tina Howard asks a very reasonable question. Thank you, Tina, for leaving it. She asks, why are you so hesitant about going to rehab? That's a really good question. That's a really good question. Something I had said right before I took my hiatus was that if I drank again, I was going to go to rehab. And then I woke up after drinking, probably 12 days later, and I knew I wasn't going to go. I just knew I wasn't going to go. And I've tried not to obsess too much as to why that is, other than chalking it up to a gray area of conversation, which is I guess I'm just not ready. I guess it just doesn't hurt bad enough. I mean, it's almost a cliche to speculate, because I truly don't know, other than to say that I just don't want to. And I still can't see a life long term for myself that doesn't include sobriety. So why am I so hesitant about going to rehab? I don't know. I just don't want to. In some way, shape, or form, it's still working for me. Good question. Really good question. Oof. For Campos, jeepers, leaves a question. Can you be honest? Are you using this platform to talk about your alcoholism to help others or for yourself? Both, I think. Both. That I know I'm doing this to help myself, and I am not shy or ashamed to admit that you guys, the having access to all of your wonderful minds and your stories and your experiences, not only for me, but I know that the comment section is now well beyond me, right? Like, you guys are reading each other's comments, which is badass. That matters to me, and that's important to me. Or I'm not so like self-deprecating to think that I can't be helpful to you guys. You guys have given me enough feedback to know that I can. So it's definitely both. That's a good question though. SFP Witcher says, do you have a sponsor in either AA or another 12-step program? I do. Now it almost feels like I did. So when I first got sober, I was like, I jumped really hard, and I was going to a meeting a day, and I got a service position. I got a wonderful sponsor, and I immediately started working the steps with this sponsor and reading literature and doing the deal. But as I've continued to not stay sober, I've sort of backed away from my sponsor. My sponsor is, as for now, I know he's there, but he's giving me a little space too, because it's like you make that big charge and then it doesn't stick. And it's almost like you settle back down and you try to like recalibrate before you make another push or something. Samantha Peters says, how do you work while drinking? I mean, so the work thing's a weird situation for me. in that I make my living primarily on YouTube, not really on this channel. I don't make much on this channel, but I do make a fair bit on my other channel that I run with my dad, that I do the production for and the editing and the releasing. It's a pediatric channel, Paul Thomas MD, Dr. Paul on YouTube. That's my dad. That's a channel I started with him back in 2012. So if I'm to be frank, I haven't really had to work very much or chosen to work very much these last couple of months. I just haven't. I probably put in 10 hours a week on my YouTube stuff these last couple months, which isn't a whole lot. Maybe a little bit more, maybe more like 15 hours, 20 hours a week, but not much. And it's a pretty well-oiled machine at this point, so I can sort of get away with just not having to work very hard, which plays a bit of a negative role in my self-esteem, because I don't want to not be someone who values his opportunities, who works hard, or I don't want to be someone who doesn't work hard. I also do coach CrossFit in the evenings, about 3 or 4 classes every night. And yeah, I think in terms of the drinking specifically and how it impacts my work, on sober days or not hungover days, I get as much work done as I possibly can. No matter what the day is, I will show up to the gym, work out, and I will still coach. My body, my brain has still allowed me to maintain that routine. And then, I mean, truthfully, I have a very rigid detox habit and ritual. You know, I have worked my life pretty carefully and methodically around my drinking. There's no sexy way to put that. So I know when to cut it off at the end of the night. I know what my body needs to return back to homeostasis. I know how much sleep I need. I know how long my shower will need to be and what supplements to take, and jerk. It's all kind of embarrassing to admit because I'm not proud of it. I don't think it's badass or good. It just is. Like, I know how to navigate my life around binge drinking. For now. This is like one of those things where I'm like, I'm starting to regret this. Frank Nicastri says, made it. I feel like alcohol is the friend my mind refuses to give up on at the expense of my true self. Do you feel this? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's I always kind of, there's like this part of me that just, yeah, I know, right? Like any of us who ever struggle with addiction, we know what needs to happen. But for me, there's always this part of me that's like, and it will. Like tomorrow, you know, or something like that. Like I just postponing something that I know is coming. I'm just postponing it because change is hard and change is scary. And I've gotten sober before, and it's not all rainbows and butterflies. You know, it's a lot of hard work, and there's a lot of mental health adjustments, and your brain's been surviving off of a certain demand, let's say, for serotonin and dopamine and what have you, and there's a kickback, and so you know it's a big commitment, it's a big thing, and whether being in this space is good or bad or right or wrong or indifferent, it's familiar, and change is just hard. It just is. It's coffee in my cup, by the way. Tao, one of my absolute favorite people on here. She asked, do you struggle with boundaries and the desire to deliver for others? I mean, I think I'm getting better and better with boundaries. This whole YouTube thing is a strange thing. I don't care how long I've been doing this. It's just strange. It's just strange. So I do feel this draw to you guys, and I do feel this need for you guys, and sometimes I wonder just how good or bad or healthy or unhealthy the whole thing is. I just fucking love you guys. So I'm going to keep doing this until people stop watching or until it's clearly obvious that I should stop. So Jamie Vera says, so what do you think is going to make you stop? Objectively, if I had to imagine what's going to make me stop, is just more time in this consistent space will make me stop eventually, because I am tired. It is exhausting to be revolving a lot of your life around drinking. You know, when am I going to drink? How much am I going to drink? When am I going to be sober? It takes up a lot of mental space and physical space. So I know I can't possibly stay in this space forever. something will give. Like it's too exhausting. I crave serenity and peace too much. Now, on a more like immediate scale, I think a Dewey would do it. I think Jesse leaving would do it. I think a major health crisis would do it. I think something really scary. I respond to pain and to fear like pretty well. It's actually something that lends itself pretty well to me in other ways. I can be fairly disciplined because of that. So, yeah. I just think it'll be something bad, unfortunately. As far as the short term, I think in the long term, I think it's where I'm headed. I think I'm headed to sobriety. I just don't know exactly when. Oh, why did I choose to do this in the morning? I'm like, my skin's all fucked up. Janice Lauren asks, are you drinking on a daily basis or a few times a week? Right now, I essentially drink every other day or every third day. That seems to be about my pattern. Am I going to avoid social events during the holidays? No, I haven't been avoiding social events. I mean, I kind of have, and I did for a while there, and I'm not at the moment because I almost feel like it's more damaging and I drink more destructively with this whole hide in a corner alone mentality. Like if I'm going to drink, fine, I guess I'm drinking, I guess I'm not ready to get sober like I thought I was. But I'm not, I don't want to be some sort of leper, even though I basically made myself one. Dana Tim says, has drinking ever made you feel good for more than that moment, event, day, night? No, for sure not. Thus the cognitive dissonance, right? The whole waking up the next day being like, I don't want to do this anymore. Assuming you didn't gain a quick hangover or dehydration or all the mental baggage that a few of us seem to have in common, have you looked back a few days after drinking and felt happy that you drank? I see what you're doing here. Clever. And no, of course not. I've looked back on some events that I had drinking and be like, that was a fun event. But I try not to get confused and in terms of identifying the tree for the forest or whatever. I think I'm really big on the idea that the events that we drink at, and I'm including myself, the events that I drink at, it's the event. I can tell when I want to be somewhere because there's drinking, and when I want to be somewhere, because I really like the people and the event itself and the situation. So, yeah, good questions. Little softballs. So many of you made it to the end of the video. It's loco. It's loco for coco. Oh. Okay. Sierra Baby asked the question that says, how do you help someone who seems to have given up on themselves? Oof. Well, one, you very adamantly and unshakably let them know that you haven't given up on them. And in a really interesting way to get someone to buy into this belief, right, is to ask them, say, do you believe that I believe you're going to be okay? Someone pulled this on me once, and I was like, I was like, that's a mental ninja move right there. So do you believe that I believe you're going to be okay? And I trust that you do believe, right? So if someone asked me that, or if I asked someone that, do you believe that I believe? And they said, yeah, I believe that you believe. Cool. Then you can hold that belief for them and you let them know. And then beyond that, and this is something I've struggled with as of late, because I feel like I can't lead from the front living the way I live right now. Not that I live some insane life, but it's certainly not the life I believe I'm meant for. It's some sort of hybrid life of being kind of me and then just taking an easy way out that really isn't the easy way out. Anyway, but I think what I'm trying to say is, I think one of the most important things any of us can do for someone who struggles and who's kind of given up on themselves, so to speak, is to just take extra good care of ourselves and be willing to express that wellness and be willing to live that wellness and that hope and that truth with our own discipline, with our own rituals, with our own lifestyle, clean up our side of the street and take the best care of ourselves possible so that we are just overflowing, with like an abundance of love and energy and hope that we can then give to them because our cup is full. I think a trap that a lot of us fall into is that, we want to help someone, but we're not even helping ourselves. And so naturally, you're not going to be your best self for another. And it starts with you. It starts there. I know it's sort of a cliche, but I really, really, really believe that. Robin Remen says, my question, could it be that you are in love with this role of being a struggling addict? That's a great question, and that is something that has been brought up to me and that I've thought about a lot. It's one of those things that I read it and I'm just like, I hope not. I hope that's not what I'm doing. But the tape, if you play it back, there's a lot of that's going on. There's a lot of that's going on, and if I'm speaking bluntly, when I struggle on this platform, I get more views, I get more engagement, I get more comments. When things are going better for me and there's really no drama to report, my views go down, subscribers go down, everything goes down. It's really, really strange. But I always felt like I could identify it and not buy into it, because I see that pattern, I see what's going on, and I don't have to play that role. So now we're digging into subconscious stuff and past issues. It's the scope is too big for me to really know what the real answer is, but it's on my radar, and it is something I do not want to be a part of. And then I'm working to make sure that that's the case, because truthfully, I don't like for example, I don't like posting a video and then having a friend or a family member reaching out to me to make sure I'm okay. It comes from a good place, but I don't like that, because that's not what these videos are for. These videos, in my mind, because I have my immediate circle, I've got my support system, I'm okay. These videos are for you guys. I mean, they're for me too, but for us. They're for the world at large, and whomever might need to just talk and hear me and connect with me, and that's it. That's it. So I think when I go into these self-defeating loops, first at your hands, then at mine, when that sort of thing happens, it is a part of who I am. It's something I have to learn to work around. I do constantly sabotage myself, and I make progress and I take it all away. And a lot of us do that. And I think I just want to show you that I'm just perfectly broken. I like to think it comes from that space, as opposed to oh, help, I'm in trouble, I need you guys to save me. I don't feel that way, but I don't know if it comes across that way. That's a good question. Your next question from Robin says, could it be that you just don't feel enough pain being an alcoholic? For sure. Absolutely. That's a fact, because I really, really do respond to pain. And yeah, I do respond to pain, and clearly I'm not in enough pain to quit drinking at this very moment. I've heard of spontaneous sobriety, though, so I also don't want to fall into the mental trap of believing that you have to be in just the worst pain ever to get sober. I'm still building my awareness, my consciousness towards that, because I know others have done it too. But naturally, right, if I'm doing okay. I mean, a little worse than I should be, but financially doing okay. Physically, I'm doing okay. I'm relatively young. I'm relatively healthy. I'm relatively lean. My mental health is relatively stable. There's a lot of, I'm overall kind of okay in the grand scheme of things. Now, could I be better? I'm acutely aware that I could, but could I be worse? For sure. And so that rebellious child is just fights that stuff, man. It really does. It fights it. Those were great questions. I appreciate them. And let me make sure my wife didn't just text me. Come here. It was her. Thanks, boo. I have a dentist appointment today. Gotta clean these chompers up. Gotta get them nice and stained first. Alicia McCann asked the question that I was wondering if it was going to be asked. We're deep in this video, so who knows how many people are still here, but Alicia says, how is your wife? All right, I'm just going to tell you what exactly has happened. And then, your guys' guess is probably not quite as good as mine. But I'm pretty close to this thing, so there's a fair chance I could be a little skewed. So I started drinking again, and Jessie, sort of my wife of a few years and my partner for the last 10 or 11, she kind of did what she normally does, where she gets a little stressed out. She kind of like gives me the benefit of the doubt, like, okay, well, show me you can drink responsibly and normally, which I eventually don't. And then she gets really pissed, and then she starts withdrawing a little bit from me, and then I'm just hiding and trying to control my drinking, which is tough, and being sneaky because I don't know how else to do it, and I fall into old habits, and we start disconnecting, and things start getting bad, and we're kind of having okay moments. But then, of course, if you're a drinker of my type, you're going to drink a little more than you should at times where you shouldn't. And so we're getting stressed, and I'm being more isolated. I'm getting alone, and she's feeling disconnected, and she has a couple crying fits, and I break down saying I don't know what's wrong with me, and we kind of just have like a classic meltdown, I guess. And then and I'm like, I'm so pathetic sometimes where I'm just like, I'm sorry, like I'm trying, please don't give up on me. I want to do this. I want to stay sober. And then 2 or 3 days later, I'm drinking. She kind of sees that. She sees both sides. She feels the earnesty. She feels is that a word? She feels the desperation, and then she sees the pattern happen anyway. Here's what then happened, though. Somewhere a month or two ago, maybe a month ago, she read something, I don't know, that connected with her and spoke with her, and she, at least from then till right now, decided that she was going to love me as hard as she could, no matter what. And she told me, she's like, I've been judging you too much. I've been too hard on you. And she said, knowing that I'm not ready to leave, I'm going to choose to help keep you safe while you drink. And that only means to her to keep me from drinking and driving. And to keep me from drinking and driving, I just can't lie about when I'm going to drink and what I'm going to do when I drink, And so it was this weird thing where she's like, no more lies. Like, just tell me if you're going to drink. I don't care if you're going to meetings and working with your sponsor and reading all these books, but if you're going to drink anyway right now, if that's just what is, I choose you, I love you, I want to be with you, and I'm not letting you, I'm going to help you stay safe. And that's what I choose to do right now. And she's like, I'm just going to work on myself. And one way or another, I don't want to be disconnected from you. So she seems quite okay for the last month. Something could give. She's a very private person, even though I've been with her forever. I know there are things going on in her mind, in her head, and I have no illusions about thinking that this is how we can sustain forever. But for right now, it seems to be working. And so what it looks like for me is like, I just tell her like, hey, I am going to drink tonight. She's like, okay, like, make sure you have enough. Let's get you a burrito and an ice cream if that's what you need, as opposed to me laying down with her. For example, this is what was happening before we kind of just decided, let's stop fucking lying to each other. Like, why don't you just tell me what you're actually going to do? Let's just be homies. Let's just be real. But what was happening before, which was bringing her more stress, was I would wait for her to go to bed. I would crawl out of bed, and then I would take off and get some beer or something, for example, and then I would come home, and then maybe I didn't buy enough, and then I'd drive back out after drinking and get more alcohol and more food, and then now we're running the risk of hurting myself or hurting others or getting involved with the law. And she's basically like, we're not doing that anymore. And then beyond that, she's been acting incredible towards me. She's been so loving, and we've been sharing a lot of love and laughter, and it's felt different. The drinking is still like the every other day, every third day thing, but I'm not hiding it anymore. And it's actually led to a little decrease in consumption. It's interesting. It's a lot of this is bigger than me. I don't understand. I don't know what's happening, but I'll report it, and we'll figure it out together. Boy, that was a long-winded way of saying, I don't know. I think she's okay for today, but I don't know. Man, I can tell that I'm insecure about that topic, because I love Jess more than as much as I've ever learned or been able to love anything. I love her, and this whole thing, I wish she didn't have to deal with this. And Gibsons says, why are you making excuses for not getting sober? I'm trying not to. I just don't want to get sober, I guess, right now. But I feel like I should, and I have a strong desire to be sober, but I guess I just don't want to, or something. So I don't know. I'm trying not to make excuses and just trying just to report. Because trust me, it would be much nicer just to be like, hey guys, I'm 30 days sober or 60 days sober, and I'm just doing incredible. Like, I wish I could say that. As far as being like a public figure, which I don't really consider myself one, but whatever, a YouTube person, that'd be nicer to report that sort of thing, don't you think? Derek Young says, have you looked into plant medicines such as ayahuasca or mushrooms? This has been brought up to me. I've read and heard some fascinating things. I filmed a doctor giving a really compelling talk about the power of dealing with trauma and getting outside yourself to understand why you drank and blah, 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 blah. But I just don't feel comfortable doing it, even if it could be totally helpful. I've had too many bad experiences with taking something and having it not respond well, and I don't see myself ever feeling comfortable taking a psychedelic drug, ever. But I've heard it's really wonderful, so... Tara Hallmark says, do you think knowing you have genuine subscribers keeping you in their thoughts and prayers is a comfort? Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I more struggle with the worthiness aspect of having you guys. I mean, what is this? Like, what an interesting scenario where I just have a community of people reaching out to me. I mean, yeah, I think about it all the time, and I draw a lot of comfort from you guys. Well, here's a more passive question. So, E. Santibanez says, let's talk about how to reduce the subcutaneous fat on the midsection with TRT and DIER. I don't know if you're talking about a diuretic or something. I don't use a diuretic. I am on TRT, doctor prescribed, of course. So when it comes to keeping a relatively lean midsection, which I've been able to do for a long time, other than, TRT, if you're a dude and you happen to be low like I was, it'll help you build muscle. Muscle helps build fat, but abs, a lean midsection, that's a kitchen lifestyle deal. Kitchen is just trying to eat as many whole foods as possible. That's what I subscribe to. That's what I do. And then fasting. Intermittent fasting is the secret weapon for being lean. I'm glad we're so deep in the video that I'm assuming most of you will miss this, because I kind of feel like morally this is a weird thing to share, but a weird part of me was like, if I gave less fucks, I would just tell you guys how I've been able to keep a six-pack while drinking 3 to 4 nights a week. And every time I drink, I have at least a burrito, right? So, and I drink between 10 and 12 beers. So 3 to 4 nights a week, 10 to 12 beers, and a big giant burrito at the end of each of those nights. And I've been able to maintain this type of midsection. It's kind of insane, and it's flipped. I'm not trying to humble brag or brag. I'm just saying, it blows my mind that I've figured out how to leverage the power of fasting, and then my own proclivity to want to exercise, work out, be healthy, juice, eat whole foods. When I'm not being unhealthy, those 3, maybe 4 times a week, and those acute 4 or 5 hour windows, I'm extremely healthy. But the biggest secret to getting lean, you guys, and staying lean is to find some sort of intermittent fasting or fasting protocol that works for you. It does everything for you. I could talk forever about intermittent fasting. It's the most cheat code powerful tool. I'm so grateful that I came across it, because it's a no-brainer. It's very easy once you get acclimated, and you can literally live whatever lifestyle you want, assuming you stick to your particular regimen for fasting. So read the book Eat, Stop, Eat. Read Dr. Fung's book on Guide to Fasting. Just learn as much as you can. You don't have to struggle with your weight anymore. You really don't. This is good. Mariah B says, what's going on in your head? Girl. It's okay, my head at the moment, it's like this. I'm an obsessor. Even when I got sober, I would obsess about other things. Now I obsess about alcohol. It's familiar. I actually wonder if part of the reason it doesn't stress me out super bad at the moment is because I'm just so used to doing this, right? I've survived this up until now. So much is going on in my head. I have this intense cognitive dissonance, right? So there's this overwhelming part of me that's constantly seeking for self-improvement, self-growth, usefulness to others, self-acceptance, spiritual growth, physical growth, sobriety, recovery, a life beyond the life I'm in. But the addicted part of my mind it is kind of just constantly thinking and seeking and working through thoughts of drinking. And learning, and I have to learn to not judge those thoughts, play the tape through, use my tools. But yeah, it's just like a never-ending cycle of trying to get sober and trying to manage my drinking, and then that's it. Everything is just in between that. What battle in the mind are you dealing with that allows alcohol to beat you time after time? Yeah, so I've been learning a lot about just the physical addictive properties of alcohol, ethanol. I read This Naked Mind by Andy Grace, most of which I really enjoyed, minus the 12-step bashing. I read Drinking Sucks by some dude, most of which I liked, minus the 12-step bashing, which seems to be an unnecessary but consistent issue with these self-help books. Which I'm just like, why can't you guys just share what you got? Why do you have to bash 12-step programs? I just don't see your angle. I certainly don't think it's a healthy and moral one. But I digress. So anyway, I know that I have a mind that has now gotten trapped in a loop of seeking the reward of drinking, and the dopamine is taking me there and the cravings are there. That's why there's that whole thing where like people say I've lost the ability to choose, and I wonder that, like, have I genuinely lost the ability to choose? Because the logical adult version of me doesn't want to drink. And then like a trigger will come, or an evening will roll around, or a day or two of being sober will come, and I just get this hot feeling and this thirst to drink that's so powerful that I just know I will. And I get that powerless feeling like, yep, I'm going to drink. And so then it becomes more about staying safe and blah, blah, blah. The negotiation aspect, not so much the will I or won't I. Anyone who's ever had a drinking or drugging problem, you understand what I'm saying. Good questions. Hard to answer without seeming a little bit loco for Cocoa Puffs. Kim LaRoque says, how are you? Really? You know, I'm okay. Really. I am okay. I'm a bit tired. I'm trying to not get too caught up in feeling ashamed or too disappointed. I'm not where I thought I would be. Not where I planned to be, but I'm also in a space where, like I said in my last video, it's like I gotta find a middle ground with myself, because I can't literally just hate myself right now. I need to just keep reading, keep learning, keep talking, keep communicating, stay safe, and just trust that it's gonna stick when it will stick when it's meant to stick, you know? So I'm okay. I don't like being hungover 3 times a week. That's for sure. It's too much. It's too much. Tyler Sakovich says, why do we feel the need to be accepted by everybody for our life choices? I don't feel the need to be accepted by everybody. I just have like a strange scenario where 100,000+ people keep an eye on my channel from time to time who may have followed me for various reasons. And then sometimes as I've changed here and there, up and down, back and forth, left and right, I'm not the person they thought they subscribed to. So it's just like, I kind of feel a little bit bad because I just don't want to mislead anyone. But that's a good question. In my day-to-day life, I set boundaries with that. I can't control people, places, things. I can't control what anyone thinks about me. I can only control, to the best of my ability, myself and how I perceive and receive things and how I behave. And so for here, I just want to be, my whole goal seems to just be honesty. Like, can I actually be honest even when I look, when it doesn't look good? Yeah, I think we probably about covered it. I mean, there are tons more questions, which is crazy cool. I mean, I can just keep scrolling, and this is all you guys. It's amazing. This is insane, right? It's fucking crazy. But at this point, I think we're just beating a dead caballo. So there you go. That's the Q&A. I hope it was just so tantalizing and wonderful. And all jokes aside, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys watching and supporting me. And I do feel like I'm ready to open up back again and to share more. And to find ways to be useful again. It was really hard not being able to make videos. And videos are one of the ways that I feel like I'm doing something good. You know, I feel like I'm doing something good when I make these videos. And I like that feeling, and I think I can leverage that in a positive, healthy way. So I hope you guys are okay. I hope the holidays have treated you all right. And know that you are wanted and needed here very much. Thank you for everyone who participated. Excuse me to people whose questions I didn't get to. I tried to go based on the highest voted ones, but I would have loved to get to them all. We just would have been here for like 35 hours. There's just no way you wanted to be here that long. Don't lie. Don't lie. I am not going to make any comment on when I will post again, but the plan is soon. That is the plan, okay? We'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for caring about me. And for those that don't, thank you for being curious, I guess, anyway. All right, bye.